There's nothing I love more than technical difficulties. Is this thing even on?
Hello!
Hi, my name is Carrow. I am a new author here on YouTube. So I'm not new here to YouTube. I've definitely been a lurker in the background. It's like one of my first actual author videos, and I was a little struggling trying to figure out like what I should like be doing. Like, should I come out and be like, hi, da 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 da? But I'm unfortunately not that cheerful, nor am I that energetic. In fact, that takes way too much. That takes more energy than I actually have to constantly be that way, and I really am not in the habit of pretending to be something that I'm not. If you're looking for the peppy cheerleader person, that's probably a couple of videos that way. For this first video, I wanted to do the author newbie tag video because I think that covers a lot of the things that I wanted to talk about in this first video, and it kind of gives you an idea of my personality, who I am, what I do, all that jazz. So I am unfortunately not savvy enough to like remember all this stuff off the top of my head. So I have my cell phone, and it's got all the questions from the newbie tag. I think there were 13. I narrowed this down to 10 because some of them were overlapping. So the first question is, how did you find AuthorTube? I found AuthorTube through Jenna Marassi. 2 years ago, when I actually decided to be really serious about my writing and my efforts to write, I was going through and trying to find writing advice because I really didn't want to go through the Gotham Writing Academy to try and figure out how to do all of this. And I found her and started watching her videos, and then I found Vivian Reese and Bella Hope and all these other nice people, and I actually really enjoyed watching AuthorTube because even though they were talking about like some of the same things, they were kind of talking about it in a way that worked better for them, and it was really nice to see that there was just more than one way. And then after I found AuthorTube, I actually kind of like moved into a little bit to BookTube. That's been amazing, just because, I'm not even gonna lie, the drama that you guys have going on in BookTube is just unbelievable, and I love watching it. But the reason I love watching it is actually because I major in psychology, and I enjoy watching conflict and trying to resolve it. Alright, question 2, what genre do you write in? I presently write in urban fantasy. I have a series that's actually set in an urban fantasy setting, which is because I really enjoy working with myths and legends and seeing how they kind of work together in a modern day setting and kind of exploring the cultural and the socioeconomic effects that has on the world and how these things kind of like intertwine together. Again, going back to my nerdy background in psychology, these are just things that I'm kind of like always like, oh, I wonder what would happen if da 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 da. Question 3, what is your preferred tense POV category? Okay, so I write in past tense because it's just easier for me to just stick with that tense. I'm not really a big fan of writing in present tense. It just seems kind of weird to me. I like to write in first person as well. For me, it's not for everybody, but for me, I enjoy writing in first person because I feel like that allows the reader to experience things as the narrator is experiencing it, and then you don't have to worry about like giving too much away or not revealing enough, and you're just kind of exploring it with the narrator as they figure it out themselves. I think it makes for a more organic and enjoyable experience, but again, that's just me. My category is adult. It makes me feel kind of weird because I think I'm one of the few non-young adult authors here on YouTube. If there are other of you out there, please friend me, please talk to me. I'm kind of lonely here. Question 4, are you a plotter or a pantser? I am 80% plotter and 20% pantser. Usually what happens, and I'll make a whole video about this to kind of explain it in more depth because I do want to talk about it, is I will plot out the entire novel, and then as I am writing it, if something in the scene happens that kind of changes the course of the scene, I just let that happen, usually because it's a lot better than what I was already writing to begin with. So question 5, what publishing company are you presented by? Fuck yeah, I can finally say it at the time of this video. I am getting published by 8 Little Pages. I have been sitting on that since like last November. I reached out to 8 Little Pages when they opened up for submissions last year, and they finally came back to me and they said like, we love your book, we'd love to talk to you about it. Their newsletter came out today. They did the formal announcement, which is why my video is coming out today, because I really wanted to like share all that with you, and I'm just so excited. And for those of you that don't know, 8 Little Pages is a little indie publishing group that's out on this little island you may have heard of called England. Originally, they were doing indie services such as book formatting, covers, and they just recently started branching out into publishing. If you are an indie author, they are still doing indie services. If you're looking for a cover or a formatter or anything like that, definitely go check out their site. I have a link down below. Wonderful people. They're all super friendly, highly professional. They got a portfolio that you can look at so you can see if you want to actually use those services or not. But it's one of those things where it's like, you know, it's just really good. Like, Claire herself does amazing jobs on these covers, and I've never seen one that she's come out with where I wasn't like, oh my fucking god, I wish that was my cover. Let's see, so this one's kind of a mix of two, so I merged it into one, but it's like, when did you start writing? What was your first story? Oh god, that's a loaded question. I officially was serious about writing a book 2 years ago. I have kind of been writing since I was a teenager? Kind of not. Oh god, it's like one of those stories that you have to tell. So let me backtrack and say what the first story I wrote was, and then kind of go from there, because that might make more sense. So the first story I tried to write was when I was 8. And at the time I was 8, I actually couldn't read or write, and that was just because I have a Jerry Springer family background. I was in class one day, and I can't even remember why, but the teacher was like, she read this story, and then she's like, we're gonna make our own stories today. I'll never forget. I was sitting right across from this girl who was just writing like mad. Like, she was just doing pages on pages on pages of the story. And I was just sitting there with like this one little paragraph, which was pretty much this exact same story that had been read to us. I distinctly remember when it came my time to read, I did read it and I was crying the entire time because, 1, I didn't come up with an original story. 2, I had to read after the girl that wrote all those pages, so like my self-esteem was like, I just told myself I'm never doing this again. This was totally stupid. Anyway, fast forward, lots of tutoring later, different family situation. I was in middle school, and I was doing a book report, and I got really frustrated with this book I was reading. And I remember going over to my teacher saying, I want a different book. I freaking hate this book. I hate how it ended. And she was like, well, what's wrong with it? I was like, the ending. I freaking hate this ending. It's stupid, da 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 da. She said, look, I'll tell you what. Still do the book report, and for the project, instead of doing the thing that she wanted us to do, why don't you just write like 4 pages of how you would have changed the ending? I was like, that's easy. Holy shit, anybody could write an ending better than this. So I did. I wrote the 4 pages, and then I kind of got interested in writing my own stories, some fan fiction writing in my teenage years, mostly about Dragon Ball Z, because, you know, Dragon Ball Z was really like the thing at the time. And then when I was in high school, I was still kind of like into the writing group, but I can't remember which teacher it was, but I had a teacher come over to me and they said, you're not going to make a living on writing. You might as well find a backup career and then look at writing later, right? So I took that to heart. I joined the military when I was 18, and I didn't start writing again until I was 25. And the writing that I did when I was 25 was mostly through roleplay and MMO games. 2 years ago, I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna die one day, I might as well write my book. And so I wrote it. That's the story about when I started writing and what my first story was. Holy fuck, that's a journey. But I'm kind of curious, if you're watching this, like, did you have a similar experience where you were trying to actually, like, when you were younger, you were like, yeah, I want to write, and then some adult came over and was like, shut up, you can't make a living on that. I've actually heard from a couple of people that when they were growing up, somebody gave them similar advice and it like really put them down, and I don't know why I'm interested to know if this happened to you. I think it's just more for like my morbid curiosity. See, question 7, what kind of videos can we expect to see from you? Really good question. I wish I had a very clear, defined answer. I can tell you what to expect from my channel. You can definitely expect to see me. The other thing you can expect from my channel is a fuck ton of cussing. I really don't have anything to say that's different than what everybody else is saying. Everybody talks about character creation, world building, all that kind of stuff. One of the things I definitely want to do is I want to do video essays where we kind of do an in-depth analysis on things such as, you know, the hero. Like, can we talk about the hero, how the hero has evolved from, you know, the classic era onto the modern, the expectations, different classifications for heroes, things like that. I would definitely want to do those kind of things. Unfortunately for the essay videos, those take time because I don't just pull this shit out of my ass. I can't just like give them to you, and I have to find sources, references, and then I gotta cite them because I'm not gonna sit here and just tell you about things and not tell you where I found it. That's called plagiarism, and I'm not really a big fan of that. I have a topic bank of about 52 topics that I can literally pull from to talk about, but that doesn't mean that that's the only thing I can talk about. For example, if I get a lot of people saying, hey, I would really like it if you could cover this particular topic, I would love to do that for you. I would also love to do tags. Please tag me, please. I'm very lonely here and I would like to make friends. The other thing that you can expect to see about once a month is me and my writing wife. I love my writing wife. She got me this shirt. She's wonderful. I was talking to her when I said I was going to do the YouTube channel. I said I wanted to have her in on it. And she's very busy, but we agreed to do something about once a month where we would drink wine and talk about books. The two of us together under the influence of alcohol is extremely entertaining, so you only benefit from this. Question 8, what authors inspired you the most? So the first author that usually comes to mind when it comes to inspiration is Tamora Pierce. Tamora Pierce is one of the very first authors I got sucked into as a child and who I continue to read as an adult because her stories, even though they are for young adults, middle grade, I still have a lot of like really meaningful content. Like this, Tamora Pierce, like I don't want to say wrote the original female badass when it comes to YA, but she definitely has some very strong female characters. Like a lot of people are asking for strong, independent women. I don't know why they're not running to Tamora Pierce because that's almost like her entire cast. Like every woman that she has in there is strong in some shape or form, and they usually save the day, and I just y'all gotta read her books. They're all really good. I'm gonna put a link down there too because you guys gotta read this shit. It's so fucking good. The other one obviously is Jenna Marassi. Jenna Marassi has always been very inspiring to watch. Her business ethic, her approach, communication skills, everything subpar. I finished reading The Savior's Champion last year, really fucking good. And I've just really enjoyed watching her like kind of grow as both like a YouTuber and an author. Jim Butcher is another author who I really like. I legally stalk Jim Butcher from a distance. I really love his worlds that he comes up with, his take on things, how he represents, his descriptions, plot. Like it's all art to me. I really love it. I love reading it. I love seeing what he's coming up with. He had one book, Steampunkish, where talking cats, like all this stuff. Like I was like, how are you gonna make this all work? And then I read it and I was like, he made it all work. Like he's the kind of guy that if you say this doesn't happen, he's like, oh, I can make it happen, and then he does it. That he literally has a whole series about that. And he's also really sassy. I don't know if you've seen Jim Butcher on panels, but yeah, he's sassy as all get up, and I love watching sassy people. Grace Davin is another author who I really love to watch because she doesn't really do series as much as she does kind of like standalone books, but all of her standalone books are usually really good. I remember the first one that she came up with, and I was just so intrigued with the culture and the dynamic that she had set up in this world and the way that she organically introduced everything, and I was just like, I was literally enchanted the entire time from the first page to the end page, and like nothing in her books are just wasted. Like it's all good, all of it. Number 9, do you schedule your writing sessions or write when you have time? I have to schedule. I literally have to schedule it because if I don't schedule it, I don't do it. For those of you who aren't aware, I'm also a grad student in clinical and forensic psychology, so I am really busy with coursework some days. So literally I wake up, make lunch for my husband, he goes out, I write for 4 hours, and then I focus on schoolwork after that. There's another question on here, it's kind of weird. Do you type on your computer, typewriter, or by hand? Do any of you write your books still by hand? Like seriously, like I want to know, like, and why? Is it because it triggers like different parts of your brain, or you just like the feel of it? For those of you that want to know, I use my laptop, and I usually sit in the living room on the floor. You know, my dogs are usually around me, they ask for cuddles, they'll bark at the window, like all that stuff. And then the last question is, what are you looking forward to by being part of AuthorTube? Not gonna lie, I'm here to network. I'm here to meet other authors. I am here to grow my author platform, and I'm definitely here to make an open communication for readers to come and talk to me. I definitely want to connect with a couple people here on YouTube that I have been following for a while. Oshi Reads, I'm definitely looking at you right now. The Lush Reader, I freaking love watching Lush Reader. These are all booktubers I'm pretty much talking about. Simone is another YouTuber I would definitely like to connect with. I'd definitely like to connect with Vivian Rees, Jenna Marassi, Megan Tennant. But yeah, no, I'm definitely just looking to like, I guess, make more author friends and to connect and kind of like do things together. So I would definitely love to reach out, connect, build up more contacts with other people. You can find links to my Instagram and my Twitter down below. Please like, please subscribe. That way you know when I'm going to be posting. I'm definitely going to be posting on Fridays. The only reason I'm not posting on Friday today is because this is my big announcement day.